Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today I want to talk about a trend and slight problem I see in ESO regarding monster sets. Monster sets are one of my favorite things in the game, honestly, and they are just very fun to use. They are unique, and they have a really cool visual effect. I mean, who doesn't like seeing a Lambert's fire and lightning come down from the sky? These sets have been used by players for years and are still being used daily, obviously, but from seeing players talk in the community, on the forums, or just in my general observations, monster sets feel a lot weaker in this patch, and they seem to keep getting weaker in some ways as we go on. So I want to go over a couple reasons of why that's happening, and then I want to suggest a couple of solutions that they can do to fix this issue, but also innovate the monster set system. Before we jump into it, if you like this video, consider liking, subscribing, and heavy attacking that bell icon. It really does help the channel out, and that way you don't miss any content in the channel as well. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel above and beyond. If you'd like to become a patron and get early access to videos and much more, check out the link below in the description. And you can always come by my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/brahwegotthis, and our Discord. We have a lot of helpful people in there, and it's just a fun time on Twitch. And lastly, you can check out our website at brahwegotthis.com with a lot of content on there. All those links are in the description. So I want to say first off, I'm speaking in terms of PvE, and I also want to say that in this video, I'm not saying that you can't use monster sets. I obviously use them in all of my builds for the most part, again, because I play this game for fun. They are definitely still very effective pieces of armor. However, I'm really seeing a lack of power and diversity when it comes to the top end side of ESO. And I think it's important to keep that in mind, because people play this game to have fun, they play it for casual effects, and they also play it competitively. So it's important to have everyone's best interest in mind in this game, not just the casuals, not just the competitives. My solutions, I believe, could help augment the experience of hardcore and casual players. But first, why do monster sets feel kind of underwhelming? Well, one reason is how ZOS scaled the sets in this patch. For instance, now in order to hit the corresponding numbers you hit last patch from a monster set or any set, you need to hit the threshold that they set for it. So for some monster sets, you need to have weapon or spell damage to hit that threshold. Others need to have max health, penetration, and so on. There are stats that need to be obtained or hinge on the fact if your set or monster set will be as effective. So if you take Lambert's, for instance, it scales off of weapon or spell damage, and it's doing less damage in this patch. So let's take a roll, for example, and explain what's going on. Take Magicka DPS, for example. Right now, Spell Crit is the king for Magicka DPS, and that's what you see in all the high-end builds. They stack Mother's Sorrow, Medusa, Slime Crawl, just crit after crit after crit, because that's outputting the most damage. And a lot of these monster sets aren't scaling off of Spell Crit, so it's pigeonholing certain builds to only using a few things. Now again, you can use proc sets, you can use anything in this game for the most part, and you can have fun and clear a lot of content with them. I do this all the time, but I still think it's not healthy for the game to have such a narrow top end and to kind of push out effectiveness from so many other sets in the game. I want these sets to thrive, and I know for healers and tanks, you may have some solid options right now, and this patch may not have affected you too much with that, but I think your monster sets are still kind of limited in some capacity when making tanks or healers. And I also want to say as well, I understand that monster sets are still key pieces in this game, especially for trials and dungeons, for tanks and healers and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is I still feel like monster sets are getting narrowed down, and it's getting less and less because of some of these things that have come up. So this is one reason why these sets have felt underwhelming. Another big reason they are feeling underwhelming is 3 words: Harpooner's Waiting Kilt. Holy crap, this mythic item is literally causing people rage because it's so good that people are sitting in Shadowfen waiting for a water node to spawn to get one of the leads. I went there for 2 minutes on stream the other day, and I said, nope, I would rather not do this for 12 hours. This mythic item is bonkers, and almost every high-end build I feel like is using it. I don't have a problem with mythic items being powerful, so I'm not going to try to get the kilt nerfed or anything like that. That's actually the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I don't want there to be another Thrash and Strangler incident where they become not usable, because that defeats the purpose of mythic items. These items are mythic. They should be really powerful and have a really good edge. They take up one of your slots of gear. But we're getting to a point in ESO where gearing is getting kind of awkward because of mythic items. The more mythic items introduced into the game, the less and less people seem to be using monster sets. And one reason is because you don't have enough slots a lot of times to have a monster set and a mythic item. And I understand that you can kind of pick and choose and you can kind of, throw out a 5-piece and all that stuff. But what happens is if a mythic item is busted, everyone runs it and then it pushes monster sets out and then it gets nerfed and then it's not used anymore. And then people use monster sets, but they aren't as effective as before. And it's just a cycle. So I want ideally there to be a world where monster sets can coexist with mythic items, because I don't see them not making mythic items. I mean, it's a huge new system. And so I want them to keep doing it. It's cool. It's fun. It's getting to be a very weird spot for the game. And I want to mention, I understand that things can't always be perfectly balanced, and there will be something that is better than something else, which informs the best in slot items. I just think that there is a way to bring up or innovate these systems to allow them to be a little more viable either way. So what are my solutions to this right now? Well, I have some that I think are very innovative and pretty cool in my opinion, which could allow monster sets and mythic items to hold equal power and be viable options for casual and competitive players to make you want to choose either mythic items or to make you want to choose monster sets. What I was trying to do when thinking about these ideas and solutions is keeping in mind power creep. Some of these updates could increase that, but I feel like ZOS could find ways to balance it in some way. So I have 3 main ideas for solutions. One being the most complicated, but it would be the most exciting for an update. The second one being just a kind of like a flat power creep increase, and increasing and in some way exciting in some way, but it's just going to increase the power. And the other idea being the most boring thing they could do. So let's go into the first idea, which is the most exciting of them all. And you all know me, I talk about this a lot on stream, but I am 100% serious with this idea. Monster sets need innovation. So what they could do is change the 2-piece monster set bonus to 1-piece only. So for instance, the 2-piece bonus for Elambris would now be strapped on a 1-piece bonus. But you have to wear the helm to get that bonus. You can't wear the shoulders and get the Elambris bonus. That way, you can't wear 2 different monster sets and get those bonuses. So you can't wear like a Grothar helm and an Elambris shoulder and get both of the 2-piece bonuses. Now, you're probably like, Adam, this is stupid. And to that, I say, hold my beer. So along with that, if you wear the shoulder piece of a corresponding monster set, you will get the flat bonus from the shoulder piece, and you unlock a unique item slot. This slot will bring into the game a new item rarity called uniques. And yes, I know mythic items are technically called uniques, and I think there's other items that actually are titled uniques. This is sort of like a new subset of items. So it'll be red around the borders, so not orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, or white. They will be red. These unique items can be possibly a 1-piece item set, just like mythics, or a 3-piece continuation of monster sets. You can only wear unique items if you have a 2-piece monster set on. You also cannot wear a unique item and a mythic item at once. These unique items could be backpacks and cloaks. I still don't understand why in a fantasy game we don't have something to wear on our backs. And this is the hill that I will die on, because I'm telling you, I will advocate for this every single year. Here's where it gets even spicier. These unique items could be tailored to so many styles in the game. You could have racial cloaks for each race. These cloaks could have and give you a flat bonus that pertains to what that race excels at. Now, I don't know what the numbers would be or should be. Again, I'm just innovating. But like for an Argonian cloak, you could get a flat 1k bonus to stamina, magicka, and health, for instance, for wearing it. The design of the cloak could be something of the style of Argonians, and it could be farmed in Argonian zones. You could also have unique monster cloaks from dungeons that could drop randomly or be bought with undaunted keys. These could add a 3rd item set bonus to augment a monster set even further, or some other effect. These could also look really cool and themed to the monster sets that they correspond to. Backpacks could have other abilities attached to them as well, like increased backspace, crafting bonuses, or other PvE or PvP related passives. Cloaks and backpacks could also drop and be farmed throughout the whole game, PvP, trials, and overland. So many possibilities are potentially there for this. These could be dyed as well at the dye station, and certain achievements could give cloaks that correspond to them and have an art style for them. Any RuneScape players out there, I know Pain the Axe is, and I know he plays RS, so hello Pain the Axe if you're watching this video. Another thing you could do is make it to where undaunted keys can be used for other things. So you could buy a cosmetic effect for your monster sets or cloaks from the Undaunted Enclave, or you could use the keys to augment your monster sets even further with another effect. This is just a few examples. Maybe there is also a drawback to wearing a cloak. Maybe some have decreased movement speed or other negative effects that help balance them out. But the point is being that it incentivizes using monster sets, but if you choose not to, you can get a monster set bonus from a one piece and still run a mythic item, and you can get a flat bonus from another monster set. And maybe they make it to where you could run 2 mythic items at once as well. That is the more exciting but more complicated idea. The second idea is very short, honestly, and this is just overall creating another item slot, being the unique slot for capes and backpacks. That way monster sets can be worn with mythic items. What I think this would do though is just increase the overall power of everything, because you will do more damage and be more effective overall. I'm not against this, but I think the first option at least would have consequences and choice involved in some ways. You could either choose to go a mythic item route or the monster set route, but you could still use a monster set and a mythic item and still get a bonus. But I'm not a game developer, so maybe I'm wrong with the first idea. And again, I know not everything can be balanced perfectly. The last idea of fixing this problem, it relies really on the most boring option, and that is just changing back some of the item set scaling parameters or changing to be more favorable for all builds. So maybe switching some monster sets to spell critical instead of spell damage. But again, I think that this is just the most boring way to create some balance. I personally think that monster sets in general need an overhaul, because when I run dungeons, I have the monster sets I need, which I have a lot because I played this game for a while. I don't really have incentive to run pledges anymore except for helping players run them, which is still fun, but I don't have incentive myself to grind for anything. If you added more options with buying things like cosmetics or augmentations for cloaks or adding that onto your monster sets, I believe that would push for more incentive. But what do I know? I'm just a player that keeps dying from fall damage and has to slot my CP into fall damage so I don't die, and I get killed by slaughterfish in the water all the time. But in all seriousness, I do believe that monster sets are still something you can use, but I think that they are really, really underwhelming right now and kind of dated in my opinion. And I would love to see some innovation with them. So leave a comment below letting me know if you think I'm insane or if you agree with me. I'd love to hear your feedback. Maybe this will reach some people at ZOS. Maybe there could be some things done to change this. But again, if you ever want to come by my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/brahwegotthis, you can check out all our content on the website, brahwegotthis.com. You can join our Discord as well. And if you like these discussion videos, let me know down in the comments below. I'd like to hear that feedback, and I like to talk about this kind of stuff. But until next time, y'all, just remember to have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO with my cloak.